Hey, it's Mike over at fishyourassoff.com, and today what we're going to talk about as far as our fishing class series is how to catch a black drum. There are fish that are real fun to catch, especially the big ones. Those things get 90, 100 pounds. You can see them in there tailing on the flats. Sometimes they're in the deep inlets. You got to get them up from 30, 40 feet of water, but they're real fun to catch, and when they're smaller, they're pretty good to eat too. So something you might want to target at some point in time is a black drum. But let's go ahead and talk about it a little bit more. Okay, so just like with all of the videos in this series, first thing you want to figure out whenever you're trying to catch a fish is, what is that fish like? What is your quarry like? Well, black drum like crustaceans and these bivalves and filter feeders. So anywhere you're going to find crabs. So you'll be up on an oyster bar. They like flipping over the oyster clumps and getting the mud crabs that are underneath all those oyster clumps that you'll find in the shallows and on the mud flats. Shrimp are in there too. Obviously, it's an oyster bar, so they can eat the oysters too. They can crunch those oysters right open. They have a crusher in the back of their throat that lets them just crush through the shells of all of these creatures. And clams. So they root around on the bottom. They have little barbels underneath their chin, just like catfish whiskers. So they can just kind of feel around in the mud and sense these creatures that are in here. They eat those marine worms and such too. As far as baits are concerned, things you need to know is they actually have 4 nostrils. A black drum does. So does a red drum, a redfish. So that tells you something. That tells you that their olfactory system is very important to their brain. And as far as when they're looking for food, they use their nose. So they're smelling their way around, because quite often they're in murky water where they're probably not going to be able to see much anyways. So they're smelling their way around, feeling their way around, trying to find their prey. And they have very small eyes relative to their body size. So that's another tell that tells you that you want a stinky bait, something that they're going to smell that's going to attract their attention by smell more so than sight. When you're fishing for tarpon or something, it has huge eyes. You can tell that it needs clear water for the most part. Prefers clear water for the most part, and it's going to use its sight to catch its prey. But here are the 3 best ones if you want to catch a black drum, in my opinion anyways. Fiddler crab, mud crab, mangrove crab, whatever kind of crab, little blue crab. Gets on a hook, sink it down there to them, let it sit so they can smell it and find it. Shrimp. Everything in the sea basically eats shrimp, so yeah. If you only have one choice in a bait, you probably want to pick shrimp. And clam strips. So you can just get some clam, cut it up in strips, and just sink that on the bottom. Because again, what they're interested in is the smell of it. For the most part, they're gonna seek out their prey using their olfactory system. Now, I have caught them on lures. So scented soft plastic bait. I usually use a shrimp type thing, but anything that's stinky, again, it could be a scented mullet bait or any sort of scented whatever bait. When the water is clear enough, if you have something that puts out a lot of vibration, because again, fish will use lateral lines too when they can't see stuff, so they'll smell it and feel it even if they can't see it. So anything that puts out a lot of vibrations. I fish with spinner baits a lot. Those are bass baits, bass lures, but I love fishing with spinner baits in salt water. Jacks hit it, bluefish, snook, redfish, and you can even catch black drum on a spinner bait because those 2 blades put out a ton of vibration. So they can find it that way, even if they can't really see it too well. But black drum are real fun to catch. Something definitely worth targeting at some point. Those smaller ones, like a 15 to 20 inch black drum, are real good to eat. I find once you get those big things that are 20, 40, 50 pounds, they're usually pretty wormy. They get those parasitic worms and stuff that are in their tail meat, and I don't really eat those. But the smaller ones, yeah, I think you can eat them, and well, I have eaten them, and they're really good. So yeah, you want to target the smaller ones. Those are the ones that you want to eat. They're basically everywhere. You find them in inlets, real deep. You just got to sink your bait down there, chunk of crab or whatever it is. I like sight fishing for them on mud flats. You see their big tail up in the water as they're rooting around in the oyster clumps, for food, and that's a fun way to do it. But that's about it. We have a lot more of this information too on our website. On our website, fishyourassoff.com, we have a what to section, which fish to target, a where to section, where to find those fish, a how to section, we have videos, not tying videos, we have all kinds of things on there. So if you really want to learn more about how to catch these fish or just catch more fish, that's really the way to go, is just look through that website. I think you'll find it very helpful. But that's about it for today. So hope you learned something, and until next time, we'll see you then. All right, bye-bye.